Hi, I'm a 25-year-old Malaysian woman living in Malaysia. I used to study at a university here, and yes, I do believe that we are living among, other spiritual beings, and I do believe in ghosts. When I was 12 years old, I would play around with my little cousin. He was around 4 years old at that time, and we would go to the park and everything. Um, Usually, Malay families have this thing that if you want to go to the park, you have to be back before the sunset. Usually during that time, my cousin would always see something, and he would always talk to himself. Me and my brothers and everyone, we would be like, "What is going on?" Until there was an incident in our family, you know, someone got possessed and we didn't know how to handle it. So we called an ustad, we called a lot of people. And that was like the first step to my parents actually took responsibility to know about the knowledge of the other world, the other beings and everything. So dorang pun pergi belajar. Then they taught all of their children too. Me, my siblings, and I. We all learned a little bit about this, and I realized that after we have that knowledge, everywhere I go, I would always have that sense of someone is following me. Yeah. So that's how I think my first encounter was when I was 12 years old. Whenever someone asked me, "Where do you study?" or "Where do you go?" I was doing my diploma at that time. And I would say, "Here." And they would be like, "Oh, okay, good luck then." I was like, "Why?" "Oh, that place is haunted." So I was like, okay, be okay. At that time, I was not scared of anything anymore because I was already used to things like that. And so I think it was the orientation week. It was the end of orientation week. My father was about to pick me up, and I was like getting ready. I was packing my stuff and everything, and suddenly there's this girl start to scream. Usually we would say hysteria. So she was hysterical, and she ran out of her room. She was at the parking lot screaming, and I saw my father was driving into the parking lot, and he got out and he handled the situation. So everybody was like, "Wow, okay, we never know that someone can handle the situation." And then they asked my dad, "Who are you?" and everything. Like, "Oh no, I'm just going to pick up my daughter." And then they knew it was me, and after I got back on campus, they started looking for me and say like, "Oh, so your dad knows how to do it. Do you know how to do it?" I was like, "Yeah, I know how to handle these situations." So after a while, they started looking for me whenever there's like a case going on campus. Girls started screaming or going all hysterical if there's a possession or anything. So they called me the Ghostbuster with a few other people. So yeah. We use specific Quranic verses that link to when we read, when we recite, it's a warning to the other spiritual beings to leave a person's body. The way I do it, I would just sit behind a person or in front of the person and just recite. And the most important thing is to believe what you're doing and have confidence in the words that you're reciting to actually mean something for that thing to, get out of someone's body. I do believe that these beings have no power over me or anyone or even the person that he possessed. And I was putting my faith in God most of the time when I was performing all of this. back on campus, once a year, they would have like a festival, a big festival, you know? So during that time, there would be competitions, there would be performances that would go on until 3 in the morning. So I was part of the committee, the college committee, to make sure that everyone is safe. But during that particular festivals, there would be hysterics episodes like every week, every day, every week. So there was one girl, she was she was actually one of the performers for a traditional dance. So one day, suddenly, her roommate called and said something's wrong with her. So I went to her room and she was lying down. So I was just okay, looking at the situation and everything, waiting for my backup to arrive as well. And suddenly, she started humming. Tahu tak lagu Kulit Mayang? So she started humming Kulit Mayang. And if anyone knows that song, it is one of the scariest songs that I ever listened to. At that time, she was laying down, and her body, her upper body, got up. Like, you know, when you watch Dracula got up from the coffin, it was like that. She had no hands supporting her when she got up. She just like went like. So I think that was like the most scariest. And suddenly she was humming and dancing, and she turned her head and she was looking at me. She was humming to me, and she was smiling. So at that time, I didn't do anything inside my head. I was like, you gotta be strong. You can't show fear. I was freaking out, actually. I was reciting inside my head. I was reciting inside of me. And suddenly, I looked into her eyes and I just, like, you know, poof. And she was screaming. She suddenly screamed like crazy. So I think that was the most traumatic thing. And I couldn't listen to Kulit Mayang anymore because it would remind me of that. Especially for those who are going to move into a new house that has been, you know, abandoned for a very long time. For Muslims especially, I advise you to cleanse your house. Make sure before you move in, recite a lot of dua. You don't have to read by yourself because that would be very tiring. You can just play a recording of Surah Al-Baqarah, or you can just play a recording of the Azan on loop. When I play the recordings, I would have a mineral water. The bottle cap is open and near the speakers or anything, so the vibrations would go to the water, and the recitation goes into the water, and you can use that water to spray around the house, to drink, to bathe. Yeah, so basically that is the Malay way, the Islamic way to handle these kinds of things. And if you feel that there's something wrong going on with you, just the same thing as I did with the water, drink it. Every single day you have to drink it, or you can bathe in it as well, whatever fits best, to make sure that you would feel safer. But if it gets really hard, get treatments from people that you know are specialized in Pengobatan Islam, specialized in exorcism. So make sure you get the right person to perform those treatments on you if you feel there's something wrong.